Hello and welcome back to I Am Movies. In the future, humans will shift to Mars, but they are controlled by Cohagen, who takes care of a vital element, turbinium, and considers himself the most powerful authority in the solar system. He is only scared of a rebel group that affects turbinium supply often, and he wants to get rid of his rivals at any cost. The movie starts when Doug dreams about walking on Martian hills with a mysterious woman and slips and dies horribly after his mask is broken. As he wakes up afraid, his wife Lori calms him and already knows that the dream about Mars would have haunted him. After learning that the girl is again in his dreams, Lori gets jealous of her, and the couple kiss. Doug was preparing breakfast when he heard the news about how a Martian rebel group led by someone named Quaid attacked the turbinium mines, but the Marsh security took them down easily. Mars in charge, Cohagen, warns everyone about using the forces. But then Lori arrives and turns off the TV. He asks her to visit Mars, but Lori lets him get rid of his thoughts about Mars. Doug feels sorry that she does not understand him and leaves for work. He's on the train when he hears the ad about a company called Recall that promises its clients to bless them with memories of the places they wish to travel. Doug likes the idea and questions his friend Harry about Recall, but he stops him from visiting the facility, mentioning how they lobotomized his friend. Still, Doug visits Recall's office and meets Bob McLean, who welcomes him and assures him that their procedure has improved a lot and that the lobotomization of the client is an old incident. When asked, Bob informs him that they will return his money in case of any issue. When Doug agrees, Bob mentions another program known as Ego Trip and lures him into getting a break from himself, stating that he can be anything he wants for his 2-week trip. Doug selects to become a secret agent, and Bob tells him that everyone will try to kill him, but he will fall in love with a woman and save the world. Doug is excited, and Dr. Ernie and Lull prepare him for the trip. Before they may send Doug to sleep, Lull questions him about his sexual preferences, and Doug mentions the qualities of the girl he dreamed of. Bob is dealing with another client when Bob calls him immediately, saying that they have another case of schizoid embolism. Bob finds Ernie and Lull struggling against Doug, and after they calm him down, Bob tells them that Doug is acting as his second identity as a secret agent. But Lull replies that it is impossible as they have not implanted an ego frame yet. Bob is confused to hear this, so he orders Ernie to put Doug in a taxi and get rid of him after repaying his money. Next, Doug opens the door of a Johnny cab and finds a robot driving for him. Doug reaches a station where he meets Harry, who questions him about his experience visiting Recall. Doug ignores him, but a few men catch him, and Harry happens to be their boss. Harry and his men lead him to a secluded place when Doug explains that he may have mistaken him for someone else. Harry tells him that he has talked about Mars, and as they try to kill him, Doug defends himself and kills them all. He rushes back home and informs Lori about what happened to him after visiting Recall. She gets mad at him and mentions that he must be hallucinating, but he shows the blood on his hands. Doug goes to the washroom to clean his hands, and Lori opens fire at him as he comes out. Doug confronts him and is stunned to learn that his wife is trying to kill him. Somehow, Doug overpowers her and learns that she has known him for 2 weeks and that their marriage has been planted in his mind, even though they are not married. When asked, she reveals that the agency has cleaned up his memories. Lori tries to seduce him, but Doug does not fall prey to her trap and notices a few men approaching him. Doug knocks her out and leaves his apartment. Richter arrives at his apartment with his men and rescues Lori. Richter questions Lori and learns that Doug does not know anything yet while rushing towards the train when Jack tracks his movement. Richter and his men leave to follow Doug, and after they surround him, he kills Richter's men and makes his way inside the train. Doug hears another company's ad offering an authentic experience on Mars, but at a cheaper price. Doug buys a room at a hotel and receives a phone call from an unknown man who guides him to do what he asks to survive Richter and his men. He asks him to put a wet towel on his head to dodge Jack's tracker and asks him to see out through the window where he is waiting for him. The man introduces himself as his friend from the agency and leaves his bag there before Doug can ask him about Mars. Doug gets the bag when a woman tries to steal it, and he is on his way out when Jack and Richter find him. Doug gets a taxi, and after getting rid of the robot inside, he manually drives the car and escapes. Doug reaches an abandoned cement factory when the cab destroys it. Doug gets to a safer place and opens the bag to find IDs and a laptop playing a video of himself. Doug learns that his name is Hauser, and by the time he gets this message, he will have a towel wrapped around his head. On the other side, Richter's men find Doug's location, and Doug learns he has been working for Cohagen. Still, after meeting a woman, he realizes that he had been on the wrong side, so he gets the information that he was under Cohagen's rule, due to which he erased his memories and sent him to Earth. Hauser also guides him to remove bugs from his nose. As Hauser asks Doug to reach Mars, Richter and his men arrive at the location, and as Doug spots them, he escapes after destroying the computer. The scene cuts to Mars's checkpoint, where the guard finds a mysterious lady, and she also gets scared of the guards around her. Soon, Richter and his men are welcomed by the captain and his men, who lead him to Cohagen, while the guard talks to the suspicious lady when she shows some glitches. Richter hears her voice and comprehends that it's Doug, so he opens fire at him, but the bullet hits the glass. Almost all the guards fly outside and die due to the harsh Martian climate while Doug holds onto a rod. Doug slides to the other side of the door as the guard presses the emergency lockdown button. After that, Richter sees Cohagen, who gets mad at him for attacking and letting Doug go, so he orders him to do what is asked of him. Cohagen tells him that he is only afraid of his rivals, whose leader is Court, and he knows Doug has something in his mind that can end his rule. Quado, being a psychic, can quickly get the information, so he orders him to take care of Doug for him. Otherwise, he will have to face the consequences. Subsequently, Doug reaches the Hilton Hotel, where he gets a letter guiding him to see a woman named Melina at last resort. Doug matches his handwriting and learns that Hauser left it for him. As Doug leaves the hotel, the cab driver, Benny, convinces him to take the ride, stating that he has 5 kids to feed. Benny then leads him to Last Resort, where Doug finds Melina busy with her friends, and as she spots him, she approaches him. As the duo gets closer, Melina's friend Tony gets jealous of them. Melina calms him and leads Doug to her room, where she gets mad at him for leaving her alone, stating that she considers him dead. When Doug tries to explain that Cohagen has stolen his mind and left him on Earth with a wife and a lousy job, Melina gets furious and orders him to leave. Doug tells her people want to kill him, but she points her gun at him and makes him go. Following that, Cohagen announces martial law to maintain turbinium supplies and end Quado's activities. Doug turns off the TV and hears Dr. Edgemar calling for him at the door. Doug checks and lets him inside. Edgemar informs him that he is dreaming and has landed as an emergency measure during his trip to stop him from fantasizing further. Doug is confused, so Edgemar calls Lori there, who also confirms Doug's claim that he has always been at recall. Doug points a gun at Edgemar and mentions that if he is dreaming, he can shoot him, but Edgemar convinces him that he won't be able to leave his dream without him, so he gives him a pill to show his desire to return to reality. Doug puts the pill in his mouth when he notices Edgemar sweating due to fear and comprehends that he has been playing with his mind. Doug shoots him in the head, after which Cohagen's men show up and gain the upper hand on Doug. Lori also beats him badly for making her come to Mars. After she informs Richter about her success and is on her way to him using the elevators, Melina arrives and kills all her men, after which Melina and Lori fight each other. They appear equally competent, and as Lori tries to kill Melina, Doug wakes up and shoots her. The duo escapes as Richter and Jack arrive, and Jack stops Richter from shooting at them as the dome breaks, causing their deaths. Doug finds Benny waiting for him and escapes with his help. They reach the last resort, Venusville, where Melina's friends provide a safe passage to Quado. Richter and his men arrive at the last resort and open their fires after no one provides them with any information about Doug and Melina. Soon, Cohagen reaches Richter, and after learning that Doug will see Quado, he orders his men to retreat from the sector and shuts off their air supply. Meanwhile, Melina informs Doug that Quado needs him and will help him recall his past, and that they love each other. Doug claims that he does not need Quado for this, and as they are about to kiss, Quado's men find them and lead them to their secret location. A man is seen talking to Tony, who informs him they won't last an hour because Cohagen has shut off their air supply. The man leads Doug to another room, where he learns that Doug does not remember anything and needs Quado's help to help him recall the information. They need to be down in Cohagen. The man leaves his chair, and as he turns, it is revealed that Quado is a mutant and part of his body. Doug asks him for help, and as he puts his hands in Quado's, he helps him recall when he visited the reactor built by aliens 1,000,000 years ago. Suddenly, Cohagen's forces appear there, and as Doug, Quado, Benny and Melina try to leave, Benny shoots at Quado. Doug is shocked to learn that Benny is a traitor, and he kills Quado when he advises Doug to turn on the reactor and free Mars. In the following scene, Doug and Melina are seen before Cohagen, who is happy at Quado's death, and informs Doug that he is the reason for his success. He explains that the mutants always caught them whenever they tried to reach Quado, and then Hauser and he made a perfect plan to create Doug. He divulges that the man with the box and the video messages are part of their plan, but Doug does not believe him. Cohagen then shows him his video of Hauser, in which he records his message for Doug, and after that, Cohagen orders his men to bring Hauser back by returning his memories to his body. Cohagen informs Doug that he will like his experience as Hauser, and will get Melina as a polite and beautiful partner because he loves her. After Cohagen and his men leave, and the doctors begin the process, Doug gets free and kills the doctors to save Melina. They kill all the guards and escape from Cohagen's control, while Richter gets the news of Doug's escape and gets permission to kill him. Cohagen is mad, thinking he will lose his friend, while Doug leads Melina to the mines where the reactor is present, but is stunned to find the entrance closed. Suddenly, Benny appears in a giant truck and tries to kill the duo, but Doug uses a drill and kills him instead. Doug finds a way to the reactor. He explains to Melina that they can turn on the reactor that can melt the glaciers in the core of Mars to make sufficient oxygen for the whole planet, but they will have to be quick. As they move ahead, they sense Richter and his men, but Doug thinks of a plan and uses his hologram watch to create an identical copy, which tricks Richter and his men. Melina and Doug kill all of Richter's men using the hologram, and when he tries to escape using the elevator, Doug catches him, and a fight ensues. Doug overpowers Richter and kills him brutally after getting his hands cut and falling down the elevator. Doug finds the button to turn on the reactor, but before he may do it, Cohagen appears and warns him that it can result in planetary destruction, but he can still escape from here after exploding everything. He tries to kill Doug, but Melina saves him. Cohagen uses the remote to explode the bomb, but Doug throws it out. As the bomb explodes, everything moves out, but Melina and Doug hold on firm while Cohagen slips and falls outside, where he dies miserably after his eyes burst out. Doug barely turns on the reactor, after which the duo also falls out and suffers due to the harsh Martian climate. At the same time, the reactor starts processing and converts the ice in Mars's core to oxygen, spreading it on the whole planet and saving Tony and his people's lives as well as Melina and Doug's. Everyone is shocked to see Blue for the first time on Mars when Doug and Melina are seen together. Doug then mentions that it can be another dream, and Melina asks him to kiss her before he wakes up, and the movie ends here. Thank you for supporting my small channel. If you like this video, share and like to help this channel out. Thanks for watching and see you at the next one.